Crappie Talk Live, presented by One Standard. CTL is presented by One Standard. One Standard, fish better. Beatdown doors. You can't beat a beatdown. Power Brakes, next level boat control. Power Fishing, where power meets the water. And Cyclops Jigs.
CTL coming at you.
All right, we are back, CTL, in 2026, and we have a special one. We're kicking off the new year in a place that I don't think anybody could find. We got Zeke.
What's going on, folks?
We got Captain. And we've got Levi Bennett, Bennett's Guide Service.
Bennett's Fishing Guide Service.
You were saying earlier you guide, 200 plus days a year for crappie?
40 days a year. These fish are feeding up, and they're kind of in between being on timber, coming off and feeding, and then a lot of these fish will be out in the channel feeding.
These fish in here all year, or is it a, oh, here we go, we're about to get our first one of the day.
Yeah, good one. Not bad. You got? Finally fit, did he? Ooh, good one.
If you're a river guy, if you like to run up the rivers and the derbies to catch the bass, this is going to be your neck of the woods. We got timber, we got really muddy water. This isn't the open water roamers, chasers. This is kind of a little bit of full combat. We got the power crappie sticks, the 13, the 14s, the 15s, a little bit bigger jigs. Not a jacket in sight, Zeke.
We're the luckiest people on the planet. I promise you, the weather is not always like this. And we do have to pre-plan these days on the water. We just keep getting lucky. So we're thrilled. January in Oklahoma, we're in hoodies. Feels great outside.
Oh, big stretch. Oh, yeah. Oh, that looks like a freaking hammer, doesn't it?
Oh, we did it. That's a good one. Oh, there's a good one. There you go. That's a 2 right there.
These fish, for some reason, have been just a little on the finicky side. So if you can get a bait within a couple inches of right on their nose, and just, you can't shake it, you can't pull it up and down, you just got to tap it, just vibrate the rod, and for some reason they just can't stand it, and they will absolutely hammer it.
Zeke, move Captain out of the way there. There's a scale right under there. I think we might have our first 2-pounder CTL in episode 3.
It'll be close. It'll be close.
Is that kind of the gold standard, a 2-pound crappie, regardless of where you are in the country?
Yeah, I mean, that's what my clients really come for. They want to catch a couple over 2, and everybody wants meat, but catching a 2-pound crappie is like killing a 170-inch deer.
Oh yeah, big 2. I mean, 225.
225, 2¼ pound crappie. That's the first crappie here for the bass fishermen. It's all about weight. Let's put a little length on that just to show these fish are crazy built. Look at how that fish is built. That is a 15-inch crappie that is 2¼ pounds. Here, hold that fish up again. That's the first 2-pounder of CTL. Awesome. First of me.
What's up, buddy?
That's a crappie, and it is not moving. Throw a minnow on that. It's got that graininess to it that potentially has a little bit of size to it. Thank you, sir.
Oh. It's a baby.
You put it like, you probably had that sucker right there and you wouldn't do that.
Yeah. All right. So that's a minnow. That's a minnow fish. This is the first CTO where we've done live bait. We said we were going to do a live bait episode. This is not the live bait episode.
You just get days out here where no matter what, soft plastic, hair jig, no matter what you're doing, these fish just want some meat. I don't know if it's the smell, if it's, and I know there's days it's not the movement, because there's days out here where you can tip a jig with a whole minnow, and I don't know if it's the profile, but they just immediately will whack it. Then there's days if you put a whole minnow down there, they turn away from you. But if you take that same minnow and cut him in half and worm him onto a 16th or a 1/8 ounce hair jig and put it down there, it's bam, something registers, clicks, and they eat it. So most of my trips, whether I use them or not, I bring minnows on the simple fact of I look like an idiot if I go drop you on a 2.5 pound crappie and he doesn't eat and we don't have minnows, and we put a minnow down there and he strokes it. But yeah, there's days that you don't, I mean, I've had days on this lake where if you put a minnow on them, they won't touch it. You put a hair jig and they'll just eat it like that. And so it's just every day's a little bit different in the crappie world. They don't ever do the same thing every day.
Go on. Oh, Zeke. Giant? Oh, giant Zeke.
Jumbo!
Nice.
Jumbo City, baby. Look at the thickness that these fish are starting to really put on their wintertime weight. The shoulders are huge. What are we looking at? Matt's hanging it on the scale right now.
197.
197! Dang
Almost.
Like that?
Giant. Nice. Ah.
Good.
That's why we use these power crappie rods. Just
Look
flip
at
them in
that.
the boat.
Look at that. Just that little, what is that, a 1/16 ounce or 1/24th? 1/24th ounce. That's that Cyclops jig. It's got the eye on the bottom of it. And when they like that little stuff, and you can see that crappie is absolutely stuck. Like, really stuck. Like, can't be stuck anymore.
One of the things we struggle with out here on the river is we have a ton of trash fish. So right here on the screen, we have one crappie down here at the bottom, but we have some larger fish that look like big crappie up here, up above them. And we even have one right there. Them are, I call them trash fish, but they're buffalo carp, whatever you want to call them. And a lot of times, a big crappie, a 2-pounder, 2.5, 3-pounder, when them fish are turned a particular way, them buffalo carp, trash fish, there's a mess of them right there. So them look like good crappie, but all 4 of them fish right there are trash fish, buffalo carp. And one of the ways I can tell is how bright and how hard your return is. Crappie's not going to give you nearly as bright of a return. And then another way is when they turn, like this particular fish here, you can see a bottom fin, you can see that forked tail, and you can see certain features when they turn a certain way. But a lot of times they will trick. I mean, even me, I have clients drop on them all the time just because they're turned a certain way. And I'm not going to have a client not drop on a fish that could be a 2.5, 3-pound crappie until he turns and shows me he's not. So it's the only thing that I hate about river fishing is you do have to drop and look at a lot of trash fish, because you might drop on 50 that are the wrong fish, but it takes one being the right fish, and it's going to be that 2.5, 3-pounder that you're trying to catch.
Got him.
did.
Got him.
There you go.
Good.
Get him in the boat. Nice. Good one, buddy. Ah! Woo! There he is.
Oh! Oh! Magic fish.
We had a very large crappie. Not gonna guess how big he was, but just bunt. There's quite a bit of bait right here where we're at, and these fish are gorged up, and put a bait right on his nose, vibrated. He turned up, looked, and we pulled him up about 3 foot, and he followed it, and he was just so full that something about the bait didn't do it for him, and he just finally, after about 3 foot, just slowly turned away and swam off. This particular body of water has so much shad, and these fish are so, I mean, even the small fish have shoulders, and they're just not going to eat. They're so gorged up and full that whether it's a small bait, big bait, minnow, shad, it doesn't matter. They're just not going to eat. They're just too full. So we have a pretty good crappie. I overshot him, had to use the power brakes to back up to get on him again, and we're going to just cruise up here and see if we can't get a bait on him. He is a little flighty, but if we can just get it over the top of him, almost there. And we got it. Not as big as we wanted. Well, guys, that is not what we thought it was.
Floating versus on timber. I mean, we're in January here, and almost all these fish are on timber. It's 56-degree water. It should be like 44.
On this particular body of water, these fish, whether it's a cold year or this year like it's a hot year, these fish almost always during the day will be around the wood. Even if they are floating, they're within 10 or 15 feet of it. Very rarely during the day do we see them really out in the channel floating like you see on a lot of your other lakes and bodies of water.
And that's a river thing.
And I think it's a river thing, and I also think there's so much shad in this thing, they don't have to work very hard to eat. I think they can take an hour or two early in the morning or in the middle of the night if the moon's out, and eat as much as they want to and go right back to the wood they like and just stay there and be comfortable. But yeah, this is one of the few bodies of water, January, February, where these fish really don't roam a whole lot. They stay pretty, within 5-10 feet of the wood almost all day.
Dang it! That was bigger than that. Just a 150. We thought that was like a 7.5 pounder.
It looks huge. This fish, probably a 150, 160. It was right underneath carpet shad, maybe 6 inches under. The shad is so thick I could barely track my bait going through them. We're probably hitting a dime size area to get these fish to react and to eat when they're that tight to shad. So, but they did it. We thought he was a lot bigger, but I'll take it.
Oh.
Eat it.
Do
Eat it. Oh, you got him.
Attaboy.
Dang, I thought he was big. Hey, you're on a roll. Keep going. Great,
Now they're biting.
great fish.
You can put me in a room with a billion spiders, whatever. I hate snakes.
I do. Those are a real thing.
I don't believe it.
That's a
Nice.
there's a 150. Bigger than that. There's another one. I'm trying. There you go. Just wait. And we're gonna see who's right.
I think it's a 158.
I think he's probably right.
Over 160. Here's another one bigger.
Maybe it's a 180.
Bigger.
How do I?
Go!
Oh! Ah!
Here, grab them both, Zeke.
That's how you do it, baby.
180.
A pair of 180s right here. They're really picking up. It's taking all day. I don't know what time it is, about 2 in the afternoon probably. But now if I get a jig close to them, they're smoking it.
It has been a pretty dang good afternoon. The bite definitely got better, which is something we talked about in the morning kind of to happen here. We probably caught 35, 40. Just we got to start at 10 and it's about 3 o'clock now. So 5 hours of fishing, but we all caught some good ones. It was like a river deal though. We caught a bunch of trash fish too, but a lot of 150s to 180s. Pretty solid afternoon, Zeke.
Great afternoon. We caught a few sand bass in there, even a couple drum, which they look and act just like crappie.
One of the cool things whenever I jump in the boat with guides is they don't get to fish very much. So Levi, over 200 days a year guiding for these things. So he's up here just pestering these fish, doesn't get to fish rare. Guys want to get in the boat with you and fish, Levi, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Man, the best way is give me a phone call or shoot me a text at 405-395-7393. I also have a Facebook page, Bennett's Fishing Guide Service. Shoot me a message on there. But man, the easiest way is just to give me a phone call. Right now, this time of year, I'm down southeast Oklahoma, Hugo, Sardis, Atoka. Run a bunch of trips on Eufaula when it's fishing well. That's my biggest deal is if you book with me, we're going to go wherever as long as you're okay with being flexible, we're going to go where the fish are biting the best and we can catch the biggest fish. I'm not going to take you out and put you on a bunch of little scrubby, dinky fish.
Power tackle rods. He puts the minnows in the boats, the whole 9 yards. You basically just have to show up at the boat ramp and you put them on them.
That's it. Just show up with a valid fishing license and whatever snacks and beverages you like, and I'll take care of the rest.
All right, there you go. We got our first 2-pounder in the boat this year. A couple near misses, but 225, 2 1/4. Onward and upwards. We got some really cool things, some trophy class fisheries that we're heading. Well, this is trophy class fishing. It's just a total sport in here, but the quest for goal is to catch 1 3-pounder by the end of the season. But CTL episode 3, that's a wrap.
Coming at you.
One Standard products are designed and built to help you catch more fish.
Man, that is a good one right there. Look at that. We got a pair of them on there. This fish here absolutely choked it. Welcome to the fish fry, old buddy.
Unrivaled designs, the best components and precision manufacturing create products of the highest standard.
One thing a crappie fisherman needs to do is keep mixing it up, and through the baits that you're going to have in this package, you're going to be able to do that at one time.
Visit onestandardfishing.com to fish better.
Good evening and welcome. Three. That's why we can do this. Zeke, Matt Pegrec, along with guest host. No, not guest host, co-host. Zeke Anderson there. If you just watched that, you got a little fired up in this episode, Zeke.
I did get a little fired up. We were catching some really, really good fish. No, just true gigantes, but it felt good to lean on at least some 180s and 190s. And obviously, Levi caught that 225, which was the first 2-pounder of CTL. Hopefully, many more to come. as the winter progresses. But it was a very, very fun day on the water, doing something different, a little out of the norm.
A little bit of hiatus there for CTL over the holiday break. I know you had a little bit of truck trouble there in December, but we got that all dialed in and fixed. And like I said, this if you're used to, we had Todd Castledine on BTL earlier this morning. And then I went and made a guest appearance on Austin Cranford's YouTube channel over in the best spoonbill lake in the country, in the world, 3. And I'd never done that before. I know Austin had never done that before. And we ended up catching 6 with I think we had 2 over 60 pounds,
which is fantastic. I mean, you called me on the way back, and I've done it several times before. And Matt said, "What's a giant spoonbill?" And I said, out of that lake, 80 plus, because that lake holds the world record spoonbill. It's been caught. It's been broken 3 times over since forward-facing sonar's been out. But fun trip.
It was awesome. I'd never done it. And then we came back and did CTL. So we're back on the weekly basis between videos and live shows. Still trying to figure out the best way to drop the edited version of the video where we go on the water and we try to teach you guys how to catch these big crappie over the winter, and then pair it with the show. Like the first one we did it was like a recorded deal. Then last episode 2, which was a really good episode, the video is separate from this. So I think the way we're going to do it from now on is we're going to debut the video before the live show, but then release the podcast or the show as an individual, and then also release the video as an individual if you want to watch that. It helps us and it helps people who just want to watch the edited version or not. But let's dive into this week. And this week is something that I think a lot of guys do, which is fish rivers for crappie. I'm not a river guy. I've never been a river guy. When it comes to bass, I see a river on the schedule, it kind of intimidates me. But your good buddy and guide, Bennett's Fishing Guide Service, Levi Bennett guides 200 days a year on a river. And we're not talking, just like the actual Mississippi River. Almost a lot of these lakes in Oklahoma have a dam on one end, and then it goes up some river a long way on the other end. That's kind of the scenario we were in last Friday when we went out. But would you say more guys are river crappie fishermen or lake crappie fishermen, or kind of what's the difference between those two?
Definitely lake fishermen. Most guys are fishing main lakes and coves and some creeks, but going up the river, it's a totally different animal. And that's why I'm glad we did this. We can show you guys something very different from the norm, what we normally do. And a lot of these fish live up the river, year round, but probably more of them move up there during the winter time. And they're just following the shad. You saw in the video, there were just some carpet shad up there. And we did our best to stay away from it because it's easier to catch fish away from the shad. But you saw one catch that was, I normally wouldn't have fished for. That fish was dead in the middle of solid carpet shad. It could hardly track my bait to get it down to him. I'm still shocked that he bit, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that was a good drop. So I would say like that. If you have crappie in your area, there's probably an area similar to the one that we were on within 50 miles of where you live.
I'd bet money on it.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is when it comes to bass fishing, I always say like when it gets in the winter, you start at the dam and work your way up. And it's funny, when we've been on some covert missions trying to find some new lakes, you always start up lake and work your way towards the dam, which typically up lake is where you would find your stream, your river, whatnot.
Yeah, and if I've got an opportunity to fish a river or a creek, to me that's the most fun because you're really putting every skill set to work. You're going to find open water fish. You're going to find fish on structure. The beautiful thing about this river is it had structure from 2 foot deep to 25 foot deep. And it made it really fun, but really challenging. The good thing we had going for us is we haven't had much rainfall lately. So there was no incoming water, no current on this particular day. It definitely gets tougher river fishing when there's current. You'll notice in the video, the laydowns that we were fishing, most of the fish were underneath the laydown, which makes them a lot tougher to get to. Usually when they're on top of it, they're up on top of it, ready to come off and bite. But when they're under it, they're lethargic. And I think that in rivers, they stay under it just in case current kicks up. Crappie don't like current. They find a current break somewhere on a drop or behind a stump or under a tree. And so tougher to catch.
I'm playing that the clip there. That was the 225 that Levi copied. You can see it's kind of towards the top, but really tucked in. But if you go back to that live scope screen in the bottom there, you can see there's not a lot of crappie floating around it. They're all kind of buried, and even that one fish is tucked in. That's just typically a characteristic of
river
fish.
Yeah, and this was an interesting fish because when he first dropped on it, he unknowingly dropped on its tail because it was kind of facing down. It was nose down a little bit, and usually they'll nose into that big piece of wood right there on that.
Yeah. So we're looking at it right here. So this is what we're seeing circled here. This is the weight, and then this is the bait, the offering, the magic fish, as he called it. And we'll dive a little bit into that. But as you can see, like there's a lot of other single specks here, but not a lot of them are lined up. So in the first two episodes, we talked about the importance of having an indicator above your jig, not only to get it down, to keep the line straight, to get it down faster, but also to be able to identify it where it's kind of crowded. So continue on here. You can see.
So right now he's made a great drop on it, we thought, and it turns out it was on the fish's tail. You can see how it's kind of nose down towards that brush pile, which is kind of interesting. So he just pulled it over the top of it, and pretty quickly, really as soon as that fish saw it, it reacted and bit, and it was the biggest fish at CTL so far.
I like keeping the grid on my screen, especially when you're trying to teach, when you're trying to show things. So those are 2-foot grids right here. So that's between the 12 and the 14. So in this grid, you can tell that that's about, that fish takes up 3/4 of it. So 14, 15, it was a 15-inch crappie right there. But literally he moved his rod, and that's one of the things you can do with these big power tackle rods is you can talk about kind of telescoping that rod back and forth instead of making another drop. Like what is kind of the range when you make a drop? Would you say that you can push and pull that bait to reposition it?
Probably 4 to 6 feet, I would say.
Which is, you can't do it with a bass rod. You can reel, but you can't go back with the bass rod. One of the cool things with the crappie rod is you can work it not only vertically, but also horizontally, which is kind of a skill in itself.
It is. And that takes time to learn. What I tell people that are getting started, same thing I told you years back when you were getting into this, is just pick it up and redrop. Pick it up and redrop. That's going to give you your best chance of hitting the target. You can make, micro adjustments, a foot or two, just to push and pull it over that fish if you're not sure which way it's facing. Yeah. But pick up and redrop and try to get it right on its nose. This day was tough, man. I mean, it was a really tough bite in the morning, but we figured that we were having to hit about a dime-sized spot to get him to see it and react to it. And I don't care how good you are at this, it's not easy to do. But it ended up working out. I think we caught 44 fish or so in about 5 hours. And so it was a great day.
One of the other things that kind of stuck out to me early in this episode was Levi is a big rod tapper. I like to shake my bait. You are a stationary guy on it. Walk through kind of the bite triggering tricks that kind of run the gamut. Is it kind of like bass fishing where some guys like to hop a jig, other guys like to drag it, some guys like to shake it, other guys like to pop it? It sounds like a song, but
next musical feature.
Yeah, is that a personal preference, or is there a science to behind getting those fish to react?
Honestly, probably the people have their preferences, but I think the best trick is what Levi was doing in this episode. Was just tapping on the rod, and that's just getting the bait to vibrate under that water and get the fish's attention. We're just trying to get him to see it when we do that. He talked about you don't want to jig it up and down, because when you're using a 12 to 14 foot rod, a very small jig up and down is going to move that bait 6 to 12 inches away from the fish. And so you're kind of doing the opposite thing that you want to do by getting its attention. So if you get it down there, you know it's lit up, your jig's lit up, the fish is lit up, and so you know you're on it. Just tap that rod, tap-a-roo on that rod.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, it's going to work and get them to fire up and notice the bait. I think these fish fall asleep. I mean, fish got to sleep, right?
Yeah, you talk about that like legitimately. When I was down in Mexico last month, Josh, who owns a lodge, I went out for an afternoon with him, and he kept saying, "Oh, you got to wake her up," because we were scoping for him. And he was like, "No, I'm serious. Like that bass is asleep. Like you'll wake it up and it'll go, whoa,' and then it'll see it and it'll eat it." Like you think the crappie are a lot of times when you know you made a good drop, it's on the head, it doesn't move. You think that fish is actually asleep.
Actually asleep. If they never start flashing on the screen, they just stay that one solid color, and you know you've been all over them. There's only one trick I know to get them to fire when they're that lethargic and that dead asleep. And that's to stick your long rod down in the water and just swoosh it around a little till they wake up and start moving. And then usually they'll swim 10 or 20 feet. You got to follow them. And as soon as they stop, they'll give you another shot at them. If they're swimming slow, then you can catch up to them and pitch in front of them a lot of times, just depending on how active they are. But usually you got to wait till they stop and get a good drop on them again, and they'll fire off.
Spook factor on this. Like I said, you listen to the first 2 episodes. Highly recommend you go back and do it. We kind of go through the basics of what we're doing with the rods, with the power fishing, the rods that are designed by Todd Huckabee, who's legendary crappie angler for the last 3 decades.
Little over 3 decades.
Yeah, insane. And the 1/4 ounce weight, 18 inches above the bait, like 1 standard plastic, and 1/8 ounce. If we're going down like on these river fish, they're finicky. We ended up going to a 1/24 ounce Cyclops. We'll get a little bit more into the baits later on. But with that setting, we find them on 50, you zoom in, you catch them on 30. Those fish are all between 8 and 12 feet in front of the boat. I did not see over the course of the entire day we were out there a single fish, what I would say, spook. There wasn't a fish that seemed flighty. Like even when you dropped on it, there were fish that were swimming, but there wasn't a single fish with a boat literally straight above it and dropping on it that spooked.
I think a lot of that is the water clarity that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 or 3 inches of water clarity in this river, and we didn't have wind, fortunately, once again, and so we didn't have boat slap. And honestly, Matt's Bass Cat is probably the best boat that I fished out of when it comes to boat slap. That's the number one thing that spooks crappie when you're trying to long rod them and vertical fish for them like this. So really, we had all the factors in our favor: no current, no wind, muddy water, no visibility. So these fish cooperated for the most part, I would say. They at least gave us a chance to catch them. So it was just another one of those days where we kind of got lucky, and these fish weren't spooky and they were set up right. So
very cool. All right, we're going to take a quick 1.5 minute break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the baits, the water temperature, kind of where on the river you're going to look. If you just dump your boat in, it can be a very intimidating place. I know that Levi knows that river like the back of his hand, but if I was just kind of driving down, kind of looking at it, like we blew past a lot of places that I would have stopped. I think that you mentioned that kind of same thing to me. We stopped on some places that didn't look good until you dropped the trolling motor, and then he kind of explained why it was good. So not just on this particular body of water, but I can think of 2 other lakes right now that have you could drop me on that river and I would think I was on that exact fishery. So it is CTL episode 3 live January 6th. We'll be back in a 1.5 minutes.
No other fishing break system has helped produce more tournament champions, whether it be in the bass world, the walleye world, or the crappie world. Built tough as nails and engineered to last the lifetime of your boat. There's a reason why more pros and guides choose Power Brakes. If you want to take your boat control skills to the next level, and increase your fish catches? Join the movement. Visit mypowerbreaks.com. Official fishing breaks for Crappie Talk Live.
One Standard products are designed and built to help you catch more fish.
Man, now that is a good one right there. Look at that. We got a pair of them on there. This fish here absolutely choked it. Welcome to the fish fry, buddy.
Unrivaled designs, the best components and precision manufacturing create products of the highest standard.
One thing a crappie fisherman needs to do is keep mixing it up, and through the baits that you're going to have in this package, you're going to be able to do that at one time.
Visit onestandardfishing.com to fish better.
At BEATDOWN Outdoors, we know you depend on your gear to hold up in any condition. We built for that. We test for that. In fact, we pride ourselves in that. Because we know when the time comes to test your gear, you aren't going to take it easy, so we won't. We build premium, made-in-the-USA products that you can rely on in the moments when your equipment should be the last thing on your mind.
All right, welcome back. CTO episode 3. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for the next month, Zeke. The biggest thing, weather has actually been too nice for us. Like typically we're talking beginning of January. Well, let's do a little segment on the weather because that's something that I know there's a lot of people that are in the Midwest that are already locked up with ice, but historically January, you're thinking in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, mainly that you're thinking 40s, high 30s, 40-degree water. We're working with mid 50s still in January. And when it comes to hunting these big crappie, there's a couple factors that I want to ask you about. One is egg development, which adds to weight. 2 is there's actually 3. 2 is appetite and how much they're eating, and 3 is location and how much the water temperature dictates these winter crappie locations.
So we'll start with egg development.
Yep.
Because we cleaned a few of these fish. I've got a fish fry coming up, so we kept a few of them for the freezer, and they're starting to develop their eggs, obviously. Very early stages. I think that the warmer temps is going to slow egg development down.
Okay.
Which might mean we're one of two things. It means we're going to have a poor spawn, or it's going to be a delayed spawn. And we'll find out, because I honestly haven't experienced a winter where we've had this warm of temps into January. Today it was 70 degrees. So
it was 74. I was spoonbill fishing in January in shorts.
That is wild. And Josh was out here on the river with us Friday, Canadian Josh, in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
wild.
It's been crazy. But as you see in this episode, these fish are starting to really put on weight and really get thick shoulders, but their eggs are, I think, pretty far behind. So we'll keep an eye on that as the season progresses here, and figure out, typically these fish spawn in mid-March to end of April, kind of that window. And if it stays hot, my concern is that we're just going to have a really bad spawn.
Yeah. So when it comes to the bait and the feeding, then here's my thought process as a bass angler. I want you to either confirm or refute the way this works in my head. The way this works in my head is the colder it is, the less the fish move, because they want to conserve the most energy. And the biggest crappie have no problem floating because they're too big to be eaten by bass, so they don't have fear because they're prey fish with eyes in the top of their head, which is why you don't drop the jig below them. I believe you're the one who taught me that. But they're opportunistic. So they're going to be around shad, but they're not actively going to be hunting shad in the coldest water. And it's kind of like, oh, there's a shad. Oh, there's a shad. Oh, there's a shad. But they're not going to go out of their way. In the 50s, and from what I've seen this year, there are more crappie that I have seen. And we even saw it, and we've got a couple of the segments on here like that. They weren't spooking, but it looked like they were kind of actively hunting. They were swimming around more. They were going out. They were looking for food more, which you would think would be a good thing. However, in the style of fishing that we do and the way that we do it, moving crappie equal difficult crappie to catch. Is that somewhat computing in my brain?
So I agree with part of what you said and disagree with other parts. As far as them being more lethargic when the water's colder, down in the 40s and even the 30s. Absolutely true. But when they decide to feed, they feed heavy. I mean, heavy. Their stomach, we're not seeing fish yet where their stomachs are just bulging with shad and shad tails hanging out of their throats.
We'll see that in the next month, hopefully.
Oh, we will. We definitely will. Some of the places we have planned to go, we should see that pretty soon. But it is not uncommon to catch them with shad tails hanging out of their throats. Right now, with water temps in the mid 50s, they don't need to eat a whole lot. They still haven't figured out that it's January. So where they will eat, I think the fish we cleaned, the most shad we saw in one of them was 2 or 3. And there should be 7 or 8 this time of year. Does that make sense?
It does. So along the lines of eating then, last 2 episodes we used I believe 1/8 ounce 1 standard hair jig, which with the tinsel and the tail and it's probably a 3-inch bait. We used a smaller cyclops, and then we also used a minnow 1 on the 1 standard 1/8 ounce jig head, which is a 2 1/4 inch offering. Very small, diminutive. I'm a bass guy. I like to go big with my baits. However, it was pretty apparent early on this day that the best response on the fish was on a it was either on a, this is what we'll get into the bait then. It was on a non-shad colored, it's like a purple 1/24 ounce hand-tied cyclops, which we've showed before. Did you ever find those jigs? Okay, so we'll get into that. So I don't understand why something that looks like not a minnow and is so tiny is so effective on fish at certain times.
I want to use the biggest bait that I can use that's going to catch the most fish, but there are days that you have to downsize to catch the most fish. Not that you can't go catch them on a 2 1/4 inch 1 standard minnow, because we've obviously caught plenty of fish on those, but for whatever reason, these fish were acting a little finicky on Friday when we were there. And so as soon as we downsized, we were able to start catching them. There it is right there. Purple being the color, not a color I typically go to.
Really? See, I thought purple was like a gold standard in crappie. I love crappie fishing with a purple jig.
It's a very, very popular color. I'm weird. I'm a 2-color guy because they pretty much always work, gray and white.
Okay.
And I'll show you some of those. We got some jigs with us here in the studio, but sometimes you just have to downsize to get more fish to fire and catch the most amount of fish you can. The other thing we did in this episode, because Levi's a guide, he always has minnows on the boat. And we had 2 or 3 fish that wouldn't fire on a jig. And we tried a 2 1/4 inch plastic and the 1/24 ounce hair jig. As soon as we put a live minnow down there, they would smash it. And he also talked a little bit about, and this is an old Todd Huckabee trick. I'll give Todd credit on this. He taught Levi and I both this. And Levi, I apologize if you figured this out on your own. I'm just assuming. But it talked about cutting the minnow in half.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of that.
Yeah,
I only thought they only did that up there on the rattling jigs under the ice for walleye.
It's not something I ever would have thought of until Todd brought it up to me. And it saved many of guide trips for both him and Levi. And just literally cut it in half and worm it on the hook, kind of snug it up right there to your jig. And my best guess is it's the oils that come off of there.
Okay.
Might create some scent and gets these fish's attention and gets them to fire off. And it's something different. Most people don't do it. They think if the minnow's not alive, then they're not going to use it. So it's just another trick to try.
Here's what I would say. I found that when I was quote unquote learning, I'm still learning. There are a handful of you guys, and I would find that there would be minnows in the boat more often than not. As my skill set developed, minnows disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, you guys are going, hey, we want to make sure Peg Rat catches them. We're gonna bring some live bait. I cannot remember. I have never one time, and that was we were slip corking. My buddy Juice and I were slip corking over some stumps, have I ever bought minnows. The rest of the time, it's all plastics and hair.
I haven't had a minnow in the boat. This is the first time in 4 years.
Yeah.
That I've been in a boat with minnows.
But I would say it definitely expands the strike zone when the fish are finicky.
Absolutely.
When they're not, I do not think there is a bit of difference between a plastic, a hair, or a minnow. But when the fish are finicky and you're learning, it expands the strike zone. Even if you just take a jig head, a plain jig head, the 1/8 one standard, or even just a 16th ounce Cyclops or whatever you want to, and put a minnow on there, I think that your strike zone is going to be expanded when the fish are finicky.
It's definitely going to be expanded, and I'll tell you why. If it's a live minnow, you put a minnow on with the weight maybe 6 or 8 inches above the hook, that minnow is going to go down there and be swimming around scared for his life, and you're gonna have a lot better chance to get that fish's attention, and it's going to irritate the fish because he's just sitting there trying to mind his own business. And so a lot of times my feeling is they eat it out of one, reaction, and 2, because they're ticked off.
And then you talk about the swimming around. Levi was taking a dead minnow, cutting it in half, and then threading it onto his hook like a plastic.
Yeah.
like I mean, there was no finesse to it.
No, and it's just wild that there are days that he'll do that. He won't put a bait in the water without doing that. Just because he's figured out that day that that's what he has to do to get him to fire. And like I said, I think it's the oils coming off of there in the water, and it just helps get their attention. So, but it's just another trick to try. I mean, some days you got to try everything. When we kind of did that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the power bait crappie nibblers? I know back when I fished Thunderbird, Jared Miller, my buddy, he had a couple slips out there. Big power nibbler guy.
I don't ever use them personally. I know a lot of guys that do, my dad being one of them. He is a nibble guy. You get on his boat and he's got crappie nibbles
really
crunched in his carpet, all over the place. Anything that slows me down, I tend to not use. If a fish doesn't bite, then my thing is there's another one 20 feet away somewhere. I just got to go find it and find active fish. So crappie nibbles slow me down because they don't stay on the hook very well. Minnows slow me down because 1, I got to go buy them in the morning. 2, I got to try to keep them alive. 3, I got to bait my hook. That's why you see me most of the time.
Plastics slow you down because they rip, they get tangled up. You're a hair guy.
I'm a hair guy. And the guy that ties my hair jigs, Heavy D's hand ties maybe the best hair jig out there. He's very meticulous about it. They're not the cheapest hair jig out there. But
all right, walk me through what and you have some there. I can show them there. Walk me through what when you're doing like the hand tied like that, like walk me through that jig.
So a couple things that I love about his jigs is he overwraps the collar of the jig, and then he glues it. Okay. So this thing is never falling apart. Another big thing that he does different is he ties a short body on the jig. Most guys tie it all the way down to where it starts the J. And so you'll notice the tail on his is barely below the bottom of the hook. So many fish short strike and just grab the skirt. And that's why your plastic jigs get pulled, down off the bait keeper so often. But the way he ties them is just, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So let me see that jig real quick. This is the other thing. So I'm about motion. Like I said, a lot of bass anglers watching this. I know we're welcome to the crappie anglers, but there's a lot of guys who crappie fish who this is kind of like how to throw a bait caster for the bass guys, right?
Yeah,
with what we're going through here. But I mean, it's like till you know it, you need to know it. There's no motion to this jig. Like it is what it is. And in the warmer water, like the one standard with the big long tensile on it, and when you go like this with the jig, it's flowing like through the water, like
you'll
a bigger
see the
bait.
tail moving. You'll see.
This does not do that. Now you can take the one standard like I do in the winter, and I will cut it just below the hook. Now it's a marabou. It's a marabou hair, which is a totally different type of hair jig altogether than this. But This is like, to put it into bass terms, this is the equivalent of like a Ned rig in bass fishing. Like you can go like this and the jig is just going to go like it is what makes them eat. Is it the profile? Is it the size? Is it just, it doesn't have to be wiggling and have motion. It just needs to be in their cone and look like something that they can eat.
It's just is mimicking a very small bait fish, a minnow or a shad fry, something like that. And sometimes when you get too much motion on your jig, it'll actually spook the fish.
Okay.
So you got to kind of watch out for that, and you'll figure that out in the first 2 or 3 drops that you make that day, and then you just adjust from there. Like Matt said, if you got to cut the tail down, I even do that on plastic jigs sometimes, especially if it's got a beaver tail on it. If it's not more of a swim bait, then I'll trim the tail down. But that's one of the big reasons that I love these hand ties. They just, one, that they're built to last. We have a friend, his name is Mark McGuire. I think I've talked about him before. You talk about a 50-year fisherman, a crappie fisherman. Man knows more than I'll ever know. He used one of these hair jigs, a Cyclops jig hook, heavy D, tied it, and caught 674 fish. The jig never came untied. The hook finally broke. 674 crappie before he had to, which brings me to this box. This box, Cyclops jigs, heavy D, tied them up.
Are those?
This is one for sale on the site.
So those are.
It's
out.
live.
Okay.
Yeah. These are live on a Cyclops jigs website. And you got 8 jigs, a variant of sizes and colors. You get the jig box too for $50. Buy a couple of them. These things will last you a long time. They'll catch literally a ton of fish. So,
okay, I'm gonna pull this. I totally forgot that they were actually live right now.
Yep, they're live.
So I'm on Cyclops Jig, CYCLOPSJIGHEADS. Oh, that's Cyclops Jig Heads.
Yeah.
CYCLOPS jigheads.com. It's literally the first thing that pulls up. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 8 jigs. And did this have anything to do with the CTL, like where we were like, hey, let's put a package together?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're getting started in like this and you want it, or you're a crappie guy, this is what you need for the smaller stuff. Like for the tinier stuff, it's very hard to find the very tiny, the 16th and smaller, the 24th ounce. The hooks in here are the right hooks. The eyes, the heads are the right. I'm 100% on with Zeke. These things are tied. $50 of this, and your micro hair is handled, and you can go to any of the crappie fisheries, put it in front of them, and if they're not going to eat this, they're not going to eat.
They're not going to eat anything.
And I'm dead serious on that. Like, it took me a while to come around on the micro hair with you. Would you not agree?
What took you
like
years?
Literally, you would get in the boat and just chop everything off that I had on. And then as soon as you would leave, I would chop everything off that you had on and go back to the 3 and 4 inch minnows.
I love it. I love it.
The Cyclops scoping hair jig box, $50 on Cyclops jigs, CYCLOPS jigheads.com. Link to the website is in the bio of this show on YouTube, also in the MP3 description. This is badass. So this is the first time I've actually, let me see that box. You lost that box before the show, so you ran into this show when it happened. And does it come with the box?
It does.
So it comes with the box. Here, let me get this out. Little QVC action here. Comes with the box. Open it up. There it is. Boom. You just throw it in your boat. Throw it in your pocket when you jump in your buddy's boat with it. What is that? Is that a 16th?
There's anywhere from 1/24th up to a quarter in there.
Okay, 1/24th up to a quarter.
We tried to do a variant, and these are colors that Matt and I, some of our favorites.
That kind of black and purple.
That's basically what we were using.
I'm much more a darker jig guy for some reason.
And I'm lighter.
Yep. And then I'm also this pink head, white body chartreuse. If I'm going somewhere I've never been before, that's the equivalent. Pink head, white body, chartreuse tail hair, or pink head, white and chartreuse plastic of some form, that electric chicken kind of vibe to it. That's the equivalent of a 5-inch green pumpkin Cinco.
Yeah, exactly. I actually know what that is. It was funny. Well, real quick, Eric Fine that owns Cyclops, he sent me something to give to you.
What's that?
That monster.
Oh, yes. Now we're talking.
Uh-huh. I knew you'd like that.
I don't think you can even buy these, can you?
No.
Oh, dude. So this is his bass scoping head. Looks like it's a 3/8.
3/8, yeah.
3/8, a bass scoping head.
It's he tied that for bass. He tied up 10 or 12 of them, or Heavy D did for him. But he said, give this to, last time I saw him, he said, give this to Pangrack. He's going to love it.
Yeah, no, that'll be tied on for our next episodes. I actually, on the last ones that you gave me, actually also sent them to, juice ties. And I said, Juice, I need these tied.
Yeah, so we'll play with some bigger baits.
All right, yeah, if you guys have any questions about it, you want to walk through, you want to get some others. Like I said, this is the first time that Cyclops has offered the tied jigs on their website. Like their jig heads, not crappie jigs. They're crappie jig heads and bass jig heads. But this is like a cool little collab that I knew was going down, but didn't know it had gone down.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's going well. He's already sold quite a few of them.
Gray, huh? I'm
a big gray
It's
guy.
hard to find it. You don't see a lot of gray. What do you think it is? A silhouette or a profile or what?
It's probably just me. I've said it a lot in the past. If you have confidence in your bait, you're going to catch more fish because you're going to work harder to catch more fish. And those two colors, gray on gray and white head, pink body, or pink head, white body, chartreuse tail, is my go-to. Like Matt said, any new lake I go to, that's where I start with. But it was funny on Saturday, I went to Eufaula fishing, and we smashed them. We were just fun fishing. Like I said, I got this fish fry coming up, and we just crushed them, but they would not hit a hair jig. We had to use a 1 standard 2 1/4 inch.
The plastic.
What
in your opinion is the difference between a plastic and a hair, and why and when they prefer one over the other?
It's really hard to say. Just some days are different. Typically, when that water temp gets down below 50 degrees, it doesn't matter what you put in front of them. You could run a 5-inch minnow over their head like you're bass fishing, and a lot of times they'll come smack it. That giant hair jig, that big 3/8 ounce that I just gave to Matt, here in another 2-3 weeks, when this water temp keeps dropping, they're going to hammer that jig.
Yeah, it's just the opposite of crappie than it is in bass. You can go bigger and more bold the colder it gets for crappie, whereas you go smaller and less intrusive for bass.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
As a general rule of thumb.
Sure, and the same with crappie. General rule of thumb. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's seas catching.
But I wouldn't drop this in July.
No,
you wouldn't catch anything.
You wouldn't catch a thing. You would not catch a thing.
December, January, February, this thing
into March, when they're pre-spawn mode and they're just hitting anything you put in front of them, and they're the biggest they're going to be all year, that bait will catch the fire out of them.
Big heavy hook, so you can just
it'll bury right in the roof of their mouth, right where you want it, and you'll be digging it out with pliers. So
big lesson in this episode, couple more things before we wrap things up for the evening, is the carpet shad and fishing among the shad. It's the most frustrating thing to try to catch fish, and we're not talking with like balls of shad, but I have yet to have a good day of crappie fishing when you drop your trolling motor and there are shad everywhere.
It's tough, and a lot of times we'll just use our side and down imaging to know if we're on top of carpet shad, and you guys know what we mean by that. Just those big lines and layers of thick shad. Too much competition, and the crappie obviously want to hang out close to the shad. But I remember one time we pulled the trolling motor up. It was just solid carpet shad, and we just started idling.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the shad got softer on the screen, then we stopped with the trolling motor down and began fishing again and catching more fish. It also, in this clip, it is hard to track your bait through there.
Yeah, you can see after it goes away, you can watch it here. I didn't put a highlight on it because, quite frankly, this took a long time to edit. Okay, so there's your there's your bait up there.
And I just had it barely in the water, just waiting to get lined up.
And
you
there's,
can see it now.
There's your crappie right there.
Well, there's my bait.
So you'll see as it goes through. Watch this. You'll see as you get down into the shad. There's the fish. He made it 25 feet as it is. It's somewhere in there.
Yeah. This is not normally a fish that I would fish for, because it was easier in other places. But for the video's sake, I figured give it a shot, and got kind of lucky that it dropped down below the shad, because when we first saw it, it was right in there and amongst them.
See, you pulled the bait out at this point. Now you've dropped it back down, and I mean, it just disappears in the carpet shed. Your bite window on the fish is so much smaller. It's harder to identify which direction it is, how big the fish is, what it's doing. It's keyed in on the real live stuff. This is going to be a badass. Boop! It just popped out right there. That is so gnarly.
It was I mean, honestly, I feel like I got kind of lucky on this fish. It obviously took me several drops to get it going down to where I thought the strike zone was. But as soon as I nailed it, then that fish reacted like he was supposed to.
And the shad just parted like the Red Sea.
Oh, yeah. And you can see he's, 17 foot deep or so, 18 foot deep.
Yeah.
And the deeper the crappie are in the water column, the longer they get on the screen.
Okay.
And so it gets tougher to size them up. I thought this was a much bigger fish than it was, but doesn't matter. I want to catch them all anyway. So,
last thing that I think we need to cover, are you pretty comfortable with how we covered the episode today?
Oh, yeah.
Is the time of the day. And this is something that we're going to harp on throughout this. I'm at this point fully convinced that like you need to get out there at like 11.
Yep.
If you're not out there at first light, you need to get out there at 11. And if you get out there at first light, you can do some damage, but then you're going to be chilling for a while.
It's going to slow way down.
Yeah.
There's a reason we get out to these lakes when the times we do, because I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning anymore to go crappie fishing.
1 to 4:30 is
it's magic
the
time.
witching hour,
which historically pre-forward facing sonar, we thought was the worst time of day to
That's
fish.
because they get out of the stuff that you were fishing and suspend.
100%.
1 to 4:30, like that. I don't care where you are in the country, especially when it's cold out.
Yeah.
When it's wintertime, get to the lake at like 11:30 and know that you're going to have a 4-hour fishing day.
Absolutely.
It sounds insane for guys who are like, hey, now if I'm on a trip, we're going to fish all day.
Yeah.
But if you're, 45 minutes from the lake, get up, eat breakfast, hang out, take the dog for a walk, chill out, get some work done,
sleep in a little
get
bit,
to the boat ramp at 11 and know that you haven't missed it. It's just, it seems like I have not had a day where it was cast and catch throughout the day. It was always a 9 to noon lull.
Yeah. I mean, it really picked up for us about 1:30 and just got better until we quit at about 3:30 or 4. We ended up quitting, and it was literally getting better and better. The bite was, the strike zone was getting bigger. They were getting much more active. And I think it's this on overcast days. This is not as true. This is when the sun's out and they'll start moving up in the water column too, which makes them easier to catch when that sun gets high in the air. They're wanting to warm up a little bit. And you'll see this even more when these water temps are down in the low 40s. We'll catch more fish that are 6 inch under the surface. I think so far we've caught 1 or 2 that way.
Yeah, these were deep.
These were deep.
These were fall fish.
These were fall fish.
They were feeding on bait. They were actively on bait. They were tight to the cover. They were 12 to 14 foot deep.
Yeah. And like I said, they should have a lot more shad in their bellies than they do right now. And that's, to me, my opinion, it's strictly because of water temp. So as it gets colder, they'll be forced to eat more, give their eggs the nutrients they need to grow and build up their own bodies for the spawn. Because you got to think, after they spawn, they go straight to the first break line or first piece of structure they get and sit there and recover, and they might not eat for a week.
Yeah.
And it's no different than, a woman having a baby. They're exhausted. They're just exhausted. So
yeah. Regardless of where you're at, if you're in that kind of belt where you've got 40 to 50 degree water right now, find you a lake that's got less than 2 foot of visibility, but have crappie in it, a viable population of crappie. Start on the north end, start working your way out. And I want to close with the location of it because, this was a 30-mile stretch of river that we were on, and he was stopping on some pretty specific spots. Your thought process as far as just stopping on high percentage areas to start putting some of these fish in the boat, because for a lot of things that fit that criteria, it's not like you're not up there every day if you're learning how to do this.
Yeah. And luckily we were with Levi.
We're with the guy, and we'll close out the show with, if you guys want to get in contact with Levi and get on the boat. Like, I think you can learn a lot through CTL, and watching this, nothing replaces time on the water.
Yeah, nothing, especially with a guy that does it every day and really knows what he's doing. But we talked about it a little bit on Friday on the boat. Typically, if I go to a new river that I've never fished before, I'm not fishing it how we fish this one. I'm going to every bend in the river. And the reason bends hold fish, there's multiple reasons, but 2 of them specifically are that's where wood gets hung up, and crappie love structure, obviously, especially in the rivers. They got to have somewhere to hide to get out of the current. And also that's where eddy water is created, if there is current. So you might find some eddies. Crappie don't like currents. So they're going to go find whatever current break they can, whether it's an eddy behind a big boulder, whatever the case may be. So I'll get on the map. I'll pick out 6 or 8 different bins to go look at. If I can, I'll scroll back on Google Earth when the river was real low and see how much wood is piled up in these specific bins that I want to go look at. And I've won tournaments doing that. And it's the fastest way to break down a new river, in my opinion, is just focus on those bins. Then you can build a pattern and start focusing on other stuff, which is obviously what Levi's done on this lake, this river, is he's got these fish dialed in, and he knew exactly where he was going. And we asked him about it. Mm-hmm. Why aren't we fishing the bins? And he said, because every local out here is fishing all the bins and wearing out the fish. So that's why we were fishing more straightaways, and also to get away from the carpet shad.
Yeah.
So.
Frankie wants to know why Levi likes spinning rods. It's because he knows where his line is and is able to manage it without reeling it into underneath his spool.
His clients also. It's a lot easier for his clients to use spinning rods, I think, is what he was talking about Friday.
Okay. Yeah, just as far as managing it, a little bit lighter, and it's just something that they're more used to.
Less backlash.
If you're a bass guy and you're proficient with a bait caster, I would highly recommend not even attempting to use a spinning reel.
I agree. I think it's more difficult.
It's 100. You end up with, you're like a monkey humping a football. Like 9 times out of 10, you reel that thing into the spool, and then you get the backlash, and it's so much easier on a bait caster to just pull out a couple feet of line with your button pushed, and you can
keep your thumb on the spool.
I'm not saying that you can use a spinning reel. You're not going to not catch fish with a spinning reel. You're just going to say a few more bad words.
Exactly. And I've only backlashed Matt's expensive bait casters twice so far.
You have a bad habit of setting the hook because you're adjusting it up and down so much with the button pushed.
Very true. But usually when I do that, I've got my thumb on the spool hard enough where it doesn't matter.
Yep.
But a couple times, for whatever reason, I hadn't done it in years, and for whatever reason, twice so far, I have just destroyed a couple spools of line.
If you're listening to this or anything, MP3 replay on it live, and you want to get your hands on some of these power fishing crappie rods, you can shoot Zeke a Facebook message What is it under? Just your name?
Yeah, Zeke Anderson, or Instagram.
Hype Man Zeke.
Yep.
I tag him in a bunch of this stuff. Or if you're interested, you can send me a DM on Instagram, just at Matt Pangrak. And do we have a code set up for them?
CTL10, I believe it is.
So you get 10% off the rods.
$10 off.
$10 off.
Yeah.
A rod at Power Fishing. We've already been through the rods in episode 1 and episode 2. Recommend a for starting out a 12 and 13, maybe a 14 footer. They're $150 a piece. You save a little bit of money. The whole goal here for me was to have a complete system between One Standard and Cyclops and the Power Fishing rods and all that, to where you could fish all winter for less than $500 and have everything you need. Like, to me, one good bait casting combo setup for bass fishing, which I know this sounds ridiculous, but $500. Like, that's high end, right?
Yeah.
A 300, either you can swap it, $300 or $250 rod, $250 reel. You got guys on tour of One Bassmaster Classics with stuff that's less than that. Yeah. But if you have nothing, you can start it all. You don't have to buy any reels. You use your bass reels. You use your bass line with the 18-pound fluorocarbon or 16-pound fluorocarbon. You get your handful of the Cyclops jigs. You're only in $50. You get your handful of the minnow ones, that and those hair jigs. You're in $50 there. So you're talking about $100 in baits. Get 2 rods for $300. You save some money on that. You're less than $500 in. You're set up for the whole winter.
Yep. And those, I mean,
shoot me a message if you have questions about which ones you want, or Zeke on that, and we'll say, hey, this is the exact model. We've gone through it in the past shows.
And you noticed on this episode, the reason we use these rods, I think I said it at some point, we boat flipping these fish, a flimsy rod, boat flipping a 225 or even a 180 is you lose control of it. And that's why I like these heavier duty rods with more backbone. A lot easier to keep control of the fish when it's flying through the air.
And that's what it's all about. Like, if you watch this, so that fish is 16 to 16 feet deep on a bait caster, 18. It's going to hit it, and watch what you do. You smoke it. Here it comes. Look at the bend in that rod. That is a perfect bend. You cannot do that with a trolling rod, with a noodle rod, with a 10-foot rod, with a cane pole, and you put that much weight on anything that's not specifically designed for this, it's going to snap. And anything that doesn't snap is going to be either tip heavy or butt heavy and have zero sensitivity.
And you're going to lose control. Another thing we should mention real quick are they call them balance pals. They're made by Power Fishing, and they're basically weighted sleeves for the butt of the rod. And as these rods get longer and longer, these balance pals really help the fatigue of holding that rod all day.
Levi put on mine. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if he was just like, hey, try this for the day. I just literally just boom, watch that. Watch this. One motion, you reel, one motion, you swing, and that is a 2-pound crappie. Look how fired up you are. That is a 2-pound crappie that in one motion is swung into the boat.
And they kind of springboard into the boat once you get the hang of it. It's almost 4 pounds of crappie in that picture right there. So it was a great day. I was thrilled with it. I'm really excited. I've got 2 other lakes in mind that we'll be hitting here in the next couple weeks that I think we're going to be able to show you guys some true jumbo fish and maybe some different techniques and different size baits on how to catch them.
What's the Power Fishing website?
Is it powercrappie.com?
No, it's actually
ToddHuckabeeRods.com.
Yeah. I feel like that's been through like 9 iterations, and they said, screw it, we'll just talk with that. ToddHuckabeeRods.com. Crappie rods. It's that 13-foot Trident.
Trident.
Right?
Okay. That's my favorite rod right there, that 13-foot Trident.
Yeah, right there. The Huckabee 13-foot trident, and the 12-foot slab swinger.
Yep.
And we've talked about 4. If you want to get freaking really into it, the 15-foot ghost, the 14-foot flip stick, stuff like that. But the 13-foot trident, the 12-foot slab swinger.
Those are 2 I'd start with.
Yeah.
If you're getting going with
124,
those.
149, and then use code capital BTL.
CTL.
CTL. I'm
10.
so used to that.
CTL 10.
Capital CTL 10 to get $10 off. Like I said, if you had any other questions, and then I would 100% add. Oh, they're sold out. That sucks.
Which one?
The Balance Pals.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, currently sold out.
That's shocking. I'm sure they got them on order. Got them coming.
Yep. I would definitely get the Balance Pals for it, especially with the bait caster. It just makes it flawless.
And believe it or not, these are high-end crappie rods.
For $124.
For $124.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find, noodles, limp noodles, crappie rods for, $69, $79.
This is one of the few things, like, it's such a unique technique. It's kind of like the spoonbill fishing today. Like, if you don't have the stuff for it, you have 0% chance of catching them. This is one of the unique things, and why I think it is so cool is to get that long rod in guy's hand. That sounded weird. Is to get that long rod on the boat for the first time and experience, dropping on a fish and putting it right on their nose. We need to probably just end the show at this point.
Yeah, that one got me.
It did, but it's a really cool thing. We're 3 episodes in. This is probably the last show that we're gonna really harp on the basics.
Yep.
And now it's trophy hunting. Little teaser of what we got coming up, Zeke.
So I got word just a couple hours ago from one of our favorite lakes that it's actually 2 of our favorite lakes that they're fishing extremely well, and we've got a legit shot at putting possibly your PB in the boat. So we're hoping to make that happen. There was another guide out on the river where we were fishing that did catch a 301. His client did.
Yeah, it was big fish.
Yeah, so that was
Frankie.
cool
Live
to see.
scope is the main thing. Then comes the rod. This is no holes barred. We're not saying you cannot do what we are doing without active target 2, without hummingbird, without live scope. I know that limits the audience for this, but I honestly don't know how to catch a crappie without it. So
yes, well, we could go spider rig and catch them, but this time of year, but
unapologetically relying entirely on live scope for this. It is a tactic. It is a necessary tool. It's almost like saying, well, you couldn't play hockey without ice skates.
pretty much. And we can catch them without live scope.
Yeah, I know.
But here's the thing.
I know he was. Frankie's like, I love live scope. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we're not sitting here thinking, oh, live scope is, when forward-facing sonar is critical in the process.
For what we're doing, this type of fishing, hunting giants, especially what's coming up, live scope is crucial. Forward-facing sonar in general is crucial to what we're doing. So,
a couple other questions from here. Have you seen those jigs? Crappie Kev said you can use the eye hole jigs that will hold the crappie niblets.
Mhm.
I had juice bought some of those. They look pretty cool.
they're cool jigs. And
Literally, instead of the eye, it's like hollow inside, and you jam a nugget in there.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them. I think Crappie Magnet makes them.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
When it comes to which end of the minnow, when you're cutting the minnow in half, it's always the tail end, or is it
that
the
you're
head,
using, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I believe I might have told him in the comments that it was the tail.
Oh, I
He
really
didn't throw away all his minnow heads in the last 30 minutes.
really don't think it matters.
Frankie asked, does it matter in clear water as opposed to dirty water for the color that you're going to start with on your jig?
That's where I'm going to go to a monkey milk type plastic jig. But the main thing in clear water is I'm staying back off of the fish, about 20 feet, and I'm pitching to them or casting to them. They get boat shy in that clear water. So you've really got to stay back off of them. I've got a 7-foot Huckabee Power Crappie Dingo rod that I love casting with.
A what?
The 7-foot Dingo short rod.
I
didn't even know they made short rods, did you?
In my neck of the woods in BTL land, we call that our minnow rod.
Yeah.
Our shaky head rod.
It's my, I guess, swim bait rod, you could say. Because if I'm casting to them in clear water,
there it is.
I'm typically using some type of like 2.5 to 3 inch crappie swim bait, something that's got a tail on it.
That's the old 7-foot dingo. There it is.
Yeah. And I'm hoping we can get an episode done where we're casting to them.
Oh, I would love to do that.
I know where to go.
That's like a 10 killer deal, right?
10 killer would be fine, but also Fort Gibson.
Oh, okay.
And it'd be a great show and really, really fun way to catch them on the short rods.
Question here. Your thoughts on, I think I know what these are, the sonar sticks.
Oh, the sonar sticks. It's funny. We were talking about that with Levi the other day. I really like them. I think it's a really good idea. Matt had an idea for a product that we won't release just yet that we're going to try to get made. Kind of a similar item. But I like the sonar sticks. It does prevent your bait from
Explain
getting
what
hung
they
up
are.
on
I think
it.
there's probably 4 people that know what they are listening to this.
It's an elongated weight, essentially. So it's a little narrower, but it's elongated.
It's a mojo weight.
Is that what they are?
That's what it's called in the bass world.
Okay, it's a mojo weight. So basically, you can use a heavier weight because you've seen our baits pendulum down, and sometimes they'll get hung up on your weight. This helps prevent that, and it gives you a better return on live scope because I think they're about 4 inches tall.
Okay.
And so it gives that second reference point, real bright return. So I'm a fan of them. Not sponsored by them, none of that. Just I use them and like them.
I want to end the show by giving a huge shout out to Levi Bennett. That's who jumped in the boat. The dude knows his stuff. If you are in the southeast Oklahoma area, grab a buddy, jump in the boat with him, and you will drastically reduce your learning curve.
He's one of the hardest working guides that I know. He stays out longer than most do because he really tries to put his clients on quality fish and tables full of them. The limit here in Oklahoma is 37. Not going to say he's always going to limit you out, but he's going to work harder than about anybody I know to do it. So.
Yeah, it definitely takes pride in his craft, especially when it comes to filleting them afterwards. Would not let me within 10 feet of the fillet table.
Which was crazy. I tried to tell him, you're great at it.
But I understand. I've been there. I do that too with buddies, especially if you don't know it. No, I got it. You guys just hang back, drink a cold one, and I'll do it. There's nothing I hate more than to see a butchered fillet. I mean, you look at my freezer out there. I mean, you could put it in any grocery store in the country, and people would think that was professionally processed.
That freezer is an infrastructure. I mean, it is so perfectly organized and packed with some of the best.
Unlike my life.
yeah. Same, buddy. But some of the best meat that you'll ever eat in your life. So,
but he's got it down to an absolute system. I will give a major shout out to his sidekick, Captain Taz, the French Bulldog. If you've got a kid, 2 things will happen. Kid might learn some new words and he will get to play with a badass dog all day if you get tired of fishing.
Absolutely.
He or she, like that dog, I feel like takes care of it when you've got a 12-year-old in the boat that's like, okay, that's cool.
Or a woman.
Or your wife or girlfriend or something like that. But Captain Taz goes in the boat with Levi every day.
Every day. Super chill, very laid back dog. He's very used to being on the boat. He's not allowed on the deck of the boat when the trolling motor's in the water.
So he slid up there for one of mine, but he was also on my boat.
Yeah.
Not
Levi's.
Not Levi's.
And Levi's got a big boat, a Legend that he fishes out of. It's very comfortable. So handles big water.
I texted my wife about midway through the day because we had in and out service that whole day. And hold on, I gotta get back. Have you ever noticed like there's certain people that you text that you do not realize how much you text them until you go back and try to find a previous text?
Yeah, you're one of them.
All right. So I texted her at 2:30 and I said, so Zeke's buddy brought a friend that he didn't tell me about. So we have 4 in the boat. And he is referred to as, quote, the captain, and keeps sitting in my seat as soon as I stand up. Also, he ate half of my Snickers without asking. And then I lost service and I got, oh no, I'm so sorry. And then I took that picture. It's not going to zoom in on it. I got to zoom in.
Yeah.
Let me know if it zooms in. There we go. took that picture. That picture and sent it to her, and that I said, "Meet the captain." She said, "OMG, stop it! How cute!" So
we had a good time.
Yeah,
Good day.
good dude, knows it. Like I said, I got a list. You can get his Facebook page, Bennett's Fishing Guide Service. His cell phone number is in the link, the bio for this show. It's also in the video. He talks about it. Shoot him a message. He'll do everything he can, and also really good at answering questions, showing you how it's done, and not one of those guys who's going to catch your limit for you. He was saying to us, you know, he teaches and puts the clients on the fish, and lets you do the catching.
He doesn't catch one fish. He wants to see his clients catch them, and so he's great at it. One of the best out there. You guys hit him up, cut the learning curve down by 6 months going out with him. So
very cool. All right. Stay tuned. We're going to put this show out kind of as one unit. And then if you want to just watch or listen to it, be out in the podcast form and in the finished. But Zeke, as we continue on kind of the inaugural season of CTL, the listeners and viewers have taken us up on it as far as letting us know what they want to see, what they have questions about. I love to get DMs, pictures of crappie that you guys are catching as we get later into the year. We're going to have some opportunities from Power Breaks, from Cyclops, from One Standard to get your hands on some products, maybe through some contests, some questions, maybe some online tournaments. Just we got some bigger things coming. So
real quick, guess whose boat we put Power Breaks on yesterday?
Are you allowed to say?
Yeah.
Who?
Edwin Evers.
I'm telling you, man, it blows my mind that everyone doesn't have brakes on.
They're catching on more and more in the bass world.
Blows my mind, especially if you're one of those BPT guys to where you can use them for 3 hours that you can scope.
Mm-hmm.
Triples your efficiency on the water, and in all honesty, one of the cheaper electronics things that you can put on your boat. Less than $2,000. You're
about $2,000.
Yeah, like right at $2,000, and you're in, installed, done, ready to go.
Yep, the install's not tough.
Yeah, it's cheaper than a graph.
Yes, yeah. These days, unfortunately,
and
it
is one of the few things that you can point to and say, I caught that fish because of my boat control.
Absolutely, they helped us tremendously on Friday, like they do every day we're out.
Fantastic. All right, I think we're going to stop right here. A very successful episode 3 of CTL. Zeke, I'm having fun, man.
I'm having a blast.
The whole goal was to make myself get out there and do it more. There's times where I'm like, I don't want this to become a job, but 98% of it, like, I've learned so much more about crappie. I've enjoyed it, excited. We're just getting into the meat. We kick things off in November and December. We're back in 2026 as we go through the rest of January into February. The crappie are getting bigger. The water is getting colder. The venues are getting more exciting.
It's just going to get better and better from here.
Like we're to the point where every week when we're dropping an episode, it could be the episode.
It could be the one. So hopefully that happens here real soon, but we'll see. But I'm having a blast. I appreciate being a part of it and look forward to our next day of filming.
All right, this has been another edition of CTL Crappie Talk Live. We'll talk to everyone later. See ya.